Let me tell you something that will change your life. The richest people in the world are 75% entrepreneurs, 15% investors, 7% inheritors of wealth, 3% athletes, entertainers and artists, 0% employees who just earn a salary.
If you want to understand how the wealthiest people actually manage their money, you have to look at what they own. Most of them didn't get there by collecting a paycheck. They built a business, invested in assets, or developed a skill rare enough that people had to pay for it. Notice what's missing from that list. Someone who simply shows up, earns a salary, and hopes it's enough. If you don't own a business, an asset, or a rare skill, you're not really in the game. You're the one being played by it. The whole system is built to make you feel rich for a few days after payday, and broke by the time the next one rolls around, so you have no choice but to show up again and do it all over. Today, I want to walk you through the framework I've used for years, to go from having nothing to building real wealth. It doesn't matter what you're earning right now. It works either way. Chapter 1. Growth. Pay your future. Self first. The first chunk of every paycheck goes toward growth, not bills, not spending money, growth. Most people do it backward. They pay every bill first, and whatever's left gets spent on things they'll forget they even bought by next week. We're flipping that order completely. You pay your future self before you pay anyone else. Here's why timing matters more than most people realize. Picture two friends. One starts investing a modest amount in his early 20s. The other waits almost a decade, and when he finally starts, he puts in noticeably more each month, just to try to catch up. By the time they both reach retirement age, the second friend has actually contributed more money out of his own pocket over the years. And yet the first friend ends up with significantly more in his account. Not because he was smarter, not because he earned more, because he gave his money more time to grow. That's the quiet power of compound growth. It rewards whoever starts early, not necessarily whoever has the most. So where does this money actually go? Start with index funds. You're buying a small slice of the entire market. And historically, that approach has outperformed most people trying to pick individual winners. Then there's your own skill set. This might be the fastest return you'll ever see on anything. Copywriting, coding, sales, whatever it is. Once you own a skill, nobody can take it away from you. And if you want to dabble in higher risk plays, things like crypto or individual stocks, that's fine. Just treat it like a hobby and never put in more than you'd be okay losing entirely. Chapter 2. The smart way. Let your accounts work in your favor. You can't build real wealth if a large chunk of it quietly disappears to taxes you didn't need to pay. Look into the tax-advantaged accounts available where you live. In the UK, that usually means a stocks and shares ISA, where your investment profits grow completely untouched by tax. It also means taking full advantage of any employer pension match you're offered, because turning that down is leaving free money on the table. In the US, a Roth IRA tends to be the account people wish they'd opened sooner. You pay tax on the money going in, but everything it grows into afterward comes out completely tax-free. Even some of the wealthiest investors in the world have used accounts exactly like this to turn modest early contributions into enormous sums decades later. One habit that makes all of this effortless: automate the transfer the day you get paid, so the money moves before you ever get a chance to think about spending it. Chapter 3. Stability. Build your safety net. Growth is the engine, but stability is what keeps you from crashing the whole car. I learned this one the hard way, years ago. I bought a car on a loan I could barely afford, and within a few months, the engine gave out. I had no savings sitting anywhere, so I had to take out another loan just to fix a car I needed to get to work. That single breakdown didn't just cost me a repair bill. It set my finances back for the better part of a year. Most people don't actually have a money problem. They have a stability problem. One bad month, one emergency, and they're forced to sell off investments at a loss just to stay afloat. Here's how to build the buffer that prevents that. Work out your true monthly baseline, meaning rent, groceries, and utilities. Nothing extra. Multiply that by several months' worth of expenses. Then keep that amount sitting in a high-yield savings account. Somewhere it stays completely safe, is easy to reach within a day if you truly need it, and still earns enough interest to keep pace with inflation. Chapter 4. Essentials. Feed your life, not your ego. The bulk of what's left after growth and stability goes toward essentials. This part exists to take care of you, not to impress anyone else. An enormous number of people earning genuinely strong salaries still live paycheck to paycheck, simply because every raise gets absorbed by a bigger apartment or a flashier car the moment it lands. Real wealth rarely looks like anything from the outside. It's quietly sitting in accounts nobody else ever sees. A few ways to keep this category under control. Start with the two biggest expenses most people carry: housing and transportation. Renegotiate your rent if you can, or consider splitting costs with a roommate. Choose a reliable used car instead of leasing something that loses value the moment you drive it away. When something catches your eye that you don't need, wait a week before buying it. If the pull is still there after 7 days, it was a real want. If it's faded, it was just a passing spike of excitement. And resist buying for the label. A well-made, unbranded pair of boots you'll wear for years is a far better use of money than an expensive pair of sneakers you'll wear twice and forget about. Chapter 5. Rewards. The joy that keeps you going. Finally, a small slice of every paycheck is reserved purely for enjoying your life right now. A huge number of people abandon their savings goals entirely, and it's usually because saving without any joy attached starts to feel like punishment rather than progress. I used to ignore this part completely. I was so locked into the future that I burned myself out and drifted away from people I cared about along the way. Now I treat this slice of income as non-negotiable. That might mean a trip somewhere that genuinely resets you, a hobby, whether that's photography, gaming, or something else entirely, that keeps you feeling like a person and not just a savings machine. And it means remembering the people in your life. There was a stretch early on where I got so consumed chasing money that I forgot birthdays that mattered. What I understand now is that a gift was never really about the object. It's about the fact that you remembered someone at all. None of this is about being tight-fisted with your money. It's about being intentional with it. Automate the system. Stop obsessing over the charts every day and put your energy toward the one lever that accelerates all of it. Growing your income in the first place. If you're ready to start owning your future instead of quietly being owned by your next paycheck, stick around. There's a lot more of this coming.